Howdy, boys and girls. Welcome back. It is week 11 of the college football season. Week 11, therefore, of the Carla and Crappy Show. And yet another week of Carla being on maternity leave, and yet another week of having it has been so cool to have so many different people from so many different backgrounds being guest hosts. And this week, our guest host is actually, she has more Carla and Crappy Show experience probably than anyone except for AJ and Carla and me, because she's been on, I believe twice. She's an all-around sports fan. I suspect baseball would be at the top of her list, of her non-child related list, maybe. And the Red Sox being the key there. We've had her on before. She is a Duck. And we had her on to talk about a fairly significant game between Oregon and Ohio State. That one turned out better for me than the one this year did. We've also had her on before to talk about one of the coolest traditions, one of the coolest games in college football before. And that's why she's on this week, because we're going to talk about that one when we get to our picks. Kim DeBoo, welcome back to the Carla and Crappy Show.
Thank you so much. I'm Carla and Crappy's biggest fan. Well,
one of the OG. Well, I mean, we're going to talk about this a little bit too, but you've literally been around since the beginning. So
I feel like I should have had a maternity leave for when you guys started. When you guys started. We could, yeah. No, that's okay. I'm good. You guys are 10 years old now, so you're past that.
Are we allowed to stay at home without a babysitter at this point? Does that? I don't know how that works. Not yet. No. When does that start? How many more years do we have?
12.
12. If we demonstrate good behavior and responsibility and stuff.
Exactly.
Oh boy,
exactly.
I'm screwed.
Feed the dogs.
I'm totally screwed. That's not going to work. Anyway, we have stuff. I don't want to tease too much, but we have two things that we're saving until a little bit later that you are here to talk about. The one hint I will give for those who are listening and not watching, I am all about small college football this week. I have my Cornell hat on. I am celebrating win. We'll get to that. I am also wearing purple for Kim. We will get to that as well. But before we do, let's start with the best thing that you saw or heard about in college football last weekend. Now, Kim has two kids. They're both involved with lots of sports. If I'm asking Kim about the best thing she saw in sports last weekend, it's maybe a soccer game. I'm not sure what it might be, but so her time to watch college football is understandably limited. So what did you come up with as far as last weekend stuff goes?
Well, the best thing I saw was Friday night when my son's team won the Whippeal Championship at Highmark Stadium.
That would be cool.
Lost the last 2 years, met the same team this year, and turned it around completely.
Who'd they play?
They played Greensburg Central Catholic.
Okay.
So we played them a whole lot in the last few years. Typically 1-goal games. The last 10 games prior were they won 5, we won 5. Mm-hmm. They tended to beat us in the Whippeal Championship, 2 Whippeal Championships in a row, but then we'd come back and beat them in the state playoff,
right.
Craziness.
Okay.
And my son also happens to be playing with a broken arm. So
okay. Ouch.
Yeah. So that was, a little nerve-wracking, but I did actually find something I liked in college football.
Okay.
I thought was kind of cool.
What was that?
Hello. It was it was that Purdue's trick play against Michigan State. So that was just, I don't have a dog in that fight.
Yeah.
It was just a thing of beauty.
It was, and
reverse pass, touch.
Purdue is giving me all kinds of heartburn this week, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But yeah. So it's hard to argue that it was a great play.
That was pretty cool
and a great game. texting with a buddy of mine who we went to West Lafayette last time Ohio State played at Purdue, and Ohio State absolutely got waxed. This was in 2018. And it is true, West Lafayette is where ranked teams go to die. And that's,
I should apologize for bringing that up to my.
I've got it.
One of my son's co-captains' dad played for Michigan State. So
okay.
he sat behind me at the game tonight. So love him to death. But that was spectacular.
It really was. And really a great effort by Purdue all the way around. Which is why it's November, and my college football anxiety is generally elevated this time of year anyway. But Purdue, first, the best thing I saw last weekend actually did not happen last weekend. It happened a week ago tonight. We're taping on a Tuesday. And that was my Ohio University Bobcats upsetting arch rival Miami, Ohio on Tuesday night. On the first night return of Maction. OU is playing Eastern right now, and I don't have a stream open, which is probably fine because I tend to be a little distracted when that stuff is going on while I'm actually trying to do the show. But I continue to feel more comfortable about understanding what Ohio State is and where they are. And that's just I get really myopic about college football this time of season. So that, it's sort of about what is happening with them. Not a great game at Nebraska, but I will never complain about a conference road win, even though, not many style points that you get for a win like that. But, it is on the road. It is against a good defense, especially Ohio State's rushing defense, pressure on the quarterback looked good. And Martinez is a tough quarterback to pen in. So he had some big plays, and kept the Huskers in the game the whole time. The thing is, it's November football, and the competition gets tighter, and I get tighter, and everything. This is how it is at this time of year. And then you bring up Purdue, and AJ in our group text thread was like, man, Purdue did it again last week. I wonder who they play next week. And of course he knows who they played this week. Interesting.
You're going to need a lot of beers around the fire pit.
Oh boy. Purdue is the scariest 6-3 team in the country in my mind right now. And they did break into the college football playoff rankings. So that's there's a ranked component to this as well, which is helpful if you win. Here's the thing about Purdue. I did not have time. It just occurred to me tonight, so I didn't have time to research this the whole way out. But I am fairly confident in saying, in the last 10 matchups, I'm fairly confident in saying that Purdue has the best record against Ohio State as any other team in the Big Ten. They are 4-6. And that includes, the 2018 game that we saw when Purdue just crushed Ohio State. That also includes an overtime loss in Columbus, one of those 6. It was a game that very easily could have gone the other way. Purdue could be 500. If they had pulled that game out, they could be 500 against Ohio State in the last 10 matchups. And ain't nobody else in the Big Ten can say that. So, yeah. I know it's just going to be tense. You get Nebraska, Purdue, Michigan State, Michigan. That's how your season closes. It's gonna be dicey. That is how it is. But so anyway, I should note for AJ that the AJ Fundex, and Kim, I assume you've heard by now that we're referring to the over/under number as the AJ Fun Index. The AJ Fun Index for that game is 62, respectable, perhaps enough for a mention in this week's College Football After Dark report. AJ, maybe? No? Maybe? We'll see. AJ, go ahead.
Hello, boys and girls. It is this week's Group of 5 report. It's your buddy AJ going through the games that you're probably not paying attention to this week. I will say this is kind of a butt week for G5 football, mostly because everybody's playing. All the good teams are playing all the bad teams. right? This is kind of like Soak on Saturday in the SEC, but at the group of 5 level across all of them. So there's some things in here. We'll go through them, but note that there's not a ton of games this week. We'll start on Friday, Wyoming at Boise State, 9 p.m. on FS1. We will always watch Mountain West action. We will always watch the blue field. Wyoming is fine. They're not terribly good. Their defense is a bit porous. And Boise seems to have found something against Fresno that they could carry forward. They beat the crap out of Fresno last week. We'll need to see how Boise's defense handles Wyoming's running backs. Boise State's given up a ton of yards on the ground, and Wyoming runs the ball pretty much exclusively. Also, I learned today that Boise State owns the trademark for all non-green football fields. So if you see a team that has like Eastern Michigan has a gray field, Eastern Washington has a red field, Coastal has a teal field, they actually have to go and get approval from Boise State to get a different colored field. I learned that today. Saturday, noon, ESPNU, we've got UCF at SMU. Oh no, SMU. What happened? Everything was going so great. You got your heart ripped out against Houston and then just could not get it together last week against Memphis. 2 straight L's for the Mustangs has them in a spiral, likely out of the ACC championship game unless something real weird happens. But they need a win to get back on track and get to a fairly nice bowl game. They're 7-2 right now. They're fully capable of going 10-2, but this is going to be rough. Sorry, they likely won't go 10-2 because they've got Cincinnati next week. Hopefully they don't have a look-ahead game. Also, if UCF wins, because UCF's looked pretty good this year, if they win out and what they have left is UConn and USF at home, both of those teams real bad, they have a very high chance to finish 9-3 in Gus's first year. Fun index on this game is 60.5, so I'd keep an eye on that one. ECU at Memphis, 12 p.m. on ESPN+, which means it's going to look like crap. Memphis with the huge win last week over SMU. Now they take on ECU at home. ECU's 5-4. Did you know that? I didn't know that. ECU seems really, really competent this year, where previously, the last few years, they've been completely garbage. They need a W this week or next week to secure a bowl bid for the first time since 2014. Fun index is 59. You know what? Let's go Pirates. Just get a bowl game for the first time in a very long time. 3:30 p.m. on CBSSN, the Network of Champions. We've got UAB at Marshall. Normally, in most years, this is a CUSA Championship preview game. But Meep seems to have found their way and are now running away with the conference title after beating the absolute crap out of UTEP. Marshall, though, seems to have found its stride. They had 3 straight losses earlier in the season. They've since played some lower quality talent and figured out how to run their offense. But the talent ramps up before the end of the season. Their win against FAU was actually a pretty good win last week. But this should be a very good game. UAB is second in the CUSA West. Marshall is first in the CUSA East. So this should actually be a pretty good game. Fun index is 55. Now, it's at this time where I point out that between the 3:30 games and 10:30 p.m. games, there's pretty much nothing on from a G5 or even let's get weird standpoint. All of the games look like they look pretty chalky. That is where I will tell you to scoreboard watch and giggle because that's what I do. Let's go to those 10:30 games, though. Wazoo at Oregon at 10:30 p.m. on ESPN. We're under the lights in Austin. ESPN, though, I gotta listen. I've got a beef with ESPN. One, ESPN Plus quality is gross. It's just every game on there looks like it's shot like it's a Fedco Friday Night Lights. That's a Pittsburgh reference. They all just look like they were shot at like a high school stadium. They just look like crap. For whatever reason, and I don't understand this, ESPN's camera crews on the West Coast are bad. The quality looks like crap. The lighting, white balance, everything about it looks like it's a quality game. It doesn't, I don't understand it. It's a consistent thing that happens week after week, and it doesn't matter what stadium it's in. Like USC games look like crap, Arizona State games look like crap, BYU games look like crap. everything looks like crap on the West Coast, which is gross. ESPN, get it together, because your West Coast football is your best coast football. This game, though, could get weird. Oregon's been doing a lot of playing with their food in the past few weeks. They're ranked number 3 in the college football playoff, which good for them. Sure. The problem with Oregon is that they really need to come out and absolutely stomp somebody so that people will stop saying that they play with their food. Their game last week against Washington was gross in the rain, but Washington kept it generally close for way too long in that game. Oregon does this a lot. Wazoo has made Arizona State pay before. Does Wazoo have enough to make the Ducks regret it? Fun index on this one is 57. Keep an eye out. 10:30 p.m. on CBS-SN, again, the network of champions. We've got Nevada at San Diego State. You should continue to put your eyes on Nevada's Carson Strong. He is easily the best QB in college football right now, with like Caleb Williams at OU is like a 1A. Like, I can't name another quarterback that is at Carson Strong's level. Dude has thrown for over 3,000 yards. He's got 25 touchdowns. He's still got 3 games left. He is incredible, and you should watch him. However, on the other side of the ball, and it doesn't pain me to say this, I appreciate when things get weird, but I'm going to talk about punting. And San Diego State has an incredible punter. His name is Matt Ariza, and he's been blessed with a mortar cannon for a right leg. He's also like an incredibly smart kid and has figured out like every last thing you need to know about punting. And so now he can rip off 79 to 86 yard punts. He had a 79-yard punt last week. That's not even in his top 5. He had an 86-yard punt earlier this season against Air Force. His average punt is 52 yards. He is Big Ten as all hell and is in the Mountain West playing for Brady Hoke. He literally can flip the field. In fact, that 86-yard punt, he kicked it off from the goal line, and it landed on the opposing 18. This isn't like he's hitting it and it's just rolling a long way. He's hitting this in the air. It's incredible. So you should watch just for Matt Ariza and hope that San Diego State's offense gets pinned deep just to watch Matt Ariza unload. He's very fun to watch. The fun index on this game is 46, so the offenses will not be fun to watch, but we're actually here for punts. And finally, at 10:30 p.m. on FS1, we've got Utah State at San Jose State. Last year, Utah State was 1-5 in the COVID shortened season. Before that, they had like 3 wins a season. They were not good. They had hired at one point Gary Anderson, former Wisconsin coach. He was the coach who just like walked out at one point. And they replaced him with Arkansas State's Blake Anderson. Blake Anderson's a very good football coach, and now they're 7-2 with wins over Wazoo and FCS's North Dakota. Reminder: don't play the Dakotas like ever. And they have a close loss to BYU. They seem to have something going, and I would expect more of that against what has been a very inconsistent San Jose State team. They've shown moments of brilliance. They've shown big moments of stupidity. The fun index on this game is 56.5. Also, this is in San Jose State Stadium, so if you watch this game, half the stadium isn't there because they're renovating it. So there's just a hill on the other side of the field. It's kind of fun to watch. This has been this week's Group of 5 report. Hopefully we'll be back with some more fun things to talk about, but we will see you all next week. Crappy, back to you.
Thank you, AJ. Enjoy your games, and I will enjoy my games that you told me I should not watch as usual. So that's cool. The Big Red Bears report real quick. Happy weekend. Cornell was invited to Philly to be the homecoming opponent for the Penn Quakers, and they spoiled the party for Penn, leaving with a 15-12 win. Good defense, good special teams, which my nephew Drew, that's where he's getting his playing time these days. Next up, the Big Red travels to play the 7-1 Dartmouth Big Green on Saturday. That sounds like an ouch to me. Kim, you are a New England person. Do you have any kind of exposure with Ivy League sports when you were growing up?
Not so much when I was growing up. Actually, a friend of mine's vice president of the Ivy League. We haven't been in touch for a while, but when she was an undergrad at Bates,
mm-hmm.
she worked for my dad.
Okay.
Doing athletic department laundry. And she used to play tennis with me on occasion,
Mm-hmm.
little racquetball.
Okay.
And, you know, I sort of worshiped the ground she walked on, and found out recently that sorry, my husband's car's horn, whatever, right under me, because I'm above the garage.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I probably should get back in touch with her if my son decides to look at any Ivy League schools. But yeah, discovered kind of by accident that she's like VP of the Ivy League.
Nice.
So
Nice.
That's my experience. I did interview for a job at Dartmouth. Thought it was really, really cool. It wouldn't be so bad to go up there right now, although foliage may be fully past.
You're probably past peak, but it's still.
Yeah, I'm more of a NESCAC girl.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. And again, not to tease you guys, but we will get to that. If Oliver's thinking about, I mean, I can recommend Cornell. I've been to Ithaca. Ithaca's gorgeous. My nephew is having a great time and doing well with school. So there you go.
Cool. We'll talk.
Unsolicited advice about.
He'd like somewhere warmer, but he's also thinking Syracuse. So who knows?
Syracuse, Nick, is basically the same. I mean, it's going to snow from November through like May.
July.
Yeah. So I'm not sure what part of that qualifies as warmer. You know, maybe warmer than New Hampshire and Dartmouth.
Yeah.
But anyway, we have games to talk about. Both some big ones, and one smaller one. One big little game, I believe it's referred to. We're going to get to that in a second. We're going to start with big Nude Saturday. Oklahoma at Baylor. OU by 5.5 points. The AJ Fun Index is 62.5. And guys, the ESPN was late serving up the rankings this week, and I'm just not going to go find them right now. So you know what we're talking about here. Kim, what do you think about this one?
Well, you know, I was all OU at the start when I started trying to look into this. Thank you for giving me a little heads up on what games were coming.
Absolutely.
I was thinking all OU, how is this even a question? And then I started to dig a little deeper and discovered that OU has only 2 wins over teams that are over 500.
There is that.
And I'm kind of starting to think that if they win, they might be the real thing. And I think this is their test. Baylor will tell us who Oklahoma is.
Yeah, absolutely. Week. Absolutely.
And I hope you don't want to pick, but you know, I always go for the underdog, and I think Baylor has a chance.
That would be, I mean,
that'd be pretty cool.
It would be pretty cool. It's also a pretty solid pick, I think. Given Oklahoma's inconsistency, you got right to the crux of the problem with the Sooners. They just don't. It's gotten better, but for the past 3 seasons, they do not play like they should, especially in games like this. And Baylor is good enough if Oklahoma is not on it on Saturday, if Caleb Williams is not playing as well as he has for whatever reason or another, Baylor could really bite the Sooners. Now they really got to get dialed in. Their November schedule, I mean, it's Baylor, followed by Iowa State, and then Oklahoma State in Stillwater. That's where the Bedlam game is. So this is a 3-game stretch that is really, really tough. I think the Sooners will be focused. They've seemed more like that recently, in the past couple of weeks. Really dispatching opponents that they really should. It's a tough game for sure, and really, I would not be surprised at all if Baylor wins this. I'm gonna stick with the Sooners because I think it just feels like they have this figured out, and they're gonna put together the kind of effort that they need to at the end of the season. The next noon Saturday game This is one that AJ will undoubtedly have encouraged you not to watch. Michigan at Penn State. Michigan is favored by 1. The AJ Fun Index is a not at all fun 48.5 points. Kim, what do you think?
Well, as the only person in Pittsburgh who doesn't like Penn State and doesn't like Pitt,
okay.
Truly, I mean, I don't like either one. I have to qualify that slightly. I've been loving watching Pitt soccer this year, men and women.
Yes.
Yeah. They've been an absolute blast.
Nice.
But I was leaning Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
And then I read that they've suspended a defensive lineman for a half. For this game.
Yeah.
What the heck? I mean, how do you just? So he's benched. I don't understand the rat. It's like if he did something really horrible, he should be suspended. Suspending for a half doesn't. Sorry, I'm a mom. You know, half.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
I got you. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think I'm going Michigan just based on them being stupid.
Okay. I would generally throw my hat into the Michigan is stupid ring, but that's that's just in Ohio State. I'm still a Michigan skeptic. I am, of course, and always will be a Jimmy Harbaugh skeptic.
Yes,
I'm not.
I'm with you there.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure what it is that James Franklin is trying to do in State College. There are times when his team looks fantastic, and I know injuries is a part of this, but they're always. And we've gone over this with Carla. We've gone over this with Kelly Krieg ad nauseum. There are too many sort of head scratching moments with James Franklin teams, and you just wonder. I mean, does that make sense? I don't know. But he's got a good defense. He has a good quarterback who is getting closer to being 100% again for the first time, and he presents a real challenge for any defense because his ability to run as well as throw. 1 point. Michigan's a 1 point favorite. I'm gonna go with Penn State only because they're at home, and that. As we've discussed before, can be an actual home field advantage. Yes. It's not something that Michigan has experienced so far this season. It's not something they see at home in the big hole. But I'm again another tight game. I'm gonna go with the home team here. Again, though, I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan were to win.
I think the winner is AJ in the Fun Index.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's the one who nailed it.
I'm gonna have to keep him up to date on this game because I know there's no way he's never gonna turn it on. 7:30 on Saturday. NC State at Wake Forest. Wake is favored by 2. The AJ Fun Index is a respectable 66.5 points, which means he might actually turn this one on. An important thing to remember about this game is that the game Wake's loss at UNC last weekend does not count in the conference standings. Years ago they scheduled each other as a non-conference game just to fill a hole in the schedule because they don't play every week.
It's an old rivalry.
It is a very old rivalry. So with that background, Kim, what do you think?
So I don't know if you remember, but my husband used to write a piece of software called Mulberry.
Yes.
An email client named Mulberry. Wake Forest was a Mulberry school.
Oh.
One of the few.
Okay.
One of the few in the U.S. Mulberry schools. And my loathing for NC State goes back a really long way. and you know exactly where it comes from.
Could perhaps you should explain?
Yeah, I know. I've been a Duke basketball fan since before Krzyzewski. And NC State was always sort of a thorn. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm going Wake. Also, my son is slightly interested in Wake as of late. They did a little campus thing at school this week or last week. And Curious.
That would count as warmer.
Thinks the ACC was kind of fun. So no, I think Wake has this.
Okay. Yeah.
I think they're okay.
All of that stuff. I agree. First off, I would say while as we speak, Duke would be opening Coach K's final season on ESPN right now against Kentucky.
But I chose to be with you.
And I'm just going to say, I'm not sure how it happened that I got you to pick Carla and Crappy Show over that, but it's just a long college basketball season. You have lots of games to watch. Exactly. I really think this is kind of the best situation possible for Wake. Last weekend, you get this is awful, a wake up call that doesn't hurt you in the conference standings. Still on top of the ACC Atlantic. NC State is solid. NC State is motivated for this because they're just a game behind Wake in their part of the conference. So I'm thinking Wake gets the nudge from their loss at UNC last week. They will be sharp. They will play the defense they need to, and that offense will continue to roll. And the Demon Deacons will win once again. Now, we're going to back up to noon. This game, you would be able to find it on the internet. But it's not on ESPN. Although it was a couple of years ago, if I remember correctly.
It was college game day.
It was a game day thing. Yeah, that's when we had you on to talk about this. We have mentioned Kim's affiliation with Oregon. That is a master's degree. Kim is a proud graduate of Williams College, of the New England Small College Athletic Conference. And at noon on Saturday is what is called as the biggest little game in America. And this is a rivalry that goes, I mean, you think Ohio State and Michigan they go back a long way. This is the 135th time, I believe, that Williams and Amherst have played each other. It's at Amherst. There are no lines, no odds. This is a Division III football. Williams is 8-0, and I got to think that they are chomping at the bit to complete a perfect season, especially against rivals. What before we get to this actual game, what makes this a big deal?
Well, it's the most played rivalry in Division III.
Yeah.
Fourth longest rivalry in all of college football.
Mm-hmm.
It's 17 years older than Yankees and Red Sox.
Okay.
So it's been played since 1884.
Yeah.
Let's see. Williams was founded in 1793.
Mm-hmm.
Amherst in 1821. Yeah, and I do like your pronunciation. It is Amherst. Absolutely. And so what happened was the president of Williams at the time decided that the college was not viable, was never going to survive in their remote outpost of Western Pennsylvania. And he packed up some students,
mm-hmm.
stole some books out of the library, headed east and founded Amherst Academy.
Okay.
Which is, the correct name for the place. And they're known as the defectors of 1821.
Oh, okay.
That's what we call them. And what happened, and the reason, as I think we mentioned in the pregame, is the Williams Alumni Association
mm-hmm.
is celebrating its 200th anniversary this year, 1821.
Yeah.
So the way they saved Williams was they rallied the alumni and founded the first Society of Alumni in America. And alumni donated money and saved the college. They hired a new president, and the rest is history.
That is fabulous.
So that is how, Amherst is like the little brother of Williams, which I'll probably get really great hate mail for saying that, but I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, I mean, they wouldn't exist if their president hadn't, stolen books, and we'd like those books back too.
There's got to be that's got to be like a hefty library fine. after all
Yeah,
this time.
I would think. I gotta give Amherst credit though for
Yes.
changing their mascot a few years back.
That was a recent. There's a recent change.
Yeah.
They were currently the Mammoths.
They are, and for many years they were the Lord Jeffs in honor of Lord Jeffrey Amherst of smallpox blanket fame.
Oh, well, yeah, that's not really.
No, that's not cool. So, but interestingly, the alumni voted on that change, and one of the places they voted was at the alumni viewings of the Williams-Amherst football game, which occur all over the world. Williams and Amherst alumni gather together and watch the game. Used to be you had to be at a place with a satellite dish when I first graduated, but now, it's on Nessun or it's streamed or, and we're still doing it today. Anyone in Pittsburgh wants to come by Bakery Square on Sunday. Saturday.
On Saturday
at noon. We'll have the game on the big screen.
And if your son isn't playing soccer, you will be there. Correct?
I will be there. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It's funny. The first time I ever went to one of these alumni things, I swore that some of the guys were bigger on the screen than they were in real life because I still knew some of them. And I'm wondering if with the screen at Bakery Square, if that's going to be the case again.
I would think. I think that's still going to be impressive. It's been interesting as I've watched, and I've watched at least parts of every single game that Cornell has played this season. Obviously, even the difference between Ohio University and the Ivy League guys or smaller schools, they're different physically. But I've had a ball watching my nephew's team, even though they've had a tough season. The athleticism is good. Certainly the desire and the heart is awesome to see. There is absolutely no let up between from Division I schools to the Ivy League or to NES. How do you say that? NESCAC. Thank you. NESCAC.
So, these guys are not playing for rankings. NESCAC does not allow football to go on to any postseason.
Right.
They do some sports, but not football. There's no scholarships for athletes at D3. It is something special to watch.
It is similar to the Ivy League. And the Ivy League is technically FCS, but the Ivy League also there are non-conference games, but the Ivy League does not participate in the postseason tournament. It is those 10 games, 11 games, and then and that's your season. And if you are on top of the Ivy League at that point, you are the Ivy League champion. And that's kind of a cool thing too. So anyway, I've had a ball. My eyes have definitely been opened to the fun that there is to be had at these levels of college football. What do you think about this game? I mean, to come into a game against your rival and you are undefeated, that's got to be pretty cool and a little scary at the same time.
Well, yeah, a little scary.
Okay.
But there is the chance to ruin homecoming, which is always cool. But Williams and Amherst have done it to each other, have ruined each other's perfect seasons often. They always play at the end. Either Williams homecoming or Amherst homecoming.
Okay.
Alternate years. But interestingly, week 7 of the NESCAC season, there were 3 undefeated teams.
Really?
Williams, Trinity, and Wesleyan.
Okay.
And Williams played Trinity on week 7, beat them 42-3. And their only defeat.
Okay.
And then last week beat Wesleyan 25-0.
Yeah. And Wesleyan had the best had the best offense in the league. Did I read that correctly?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah. And there's a rumor. I don't know the truth to this.
Okay.
But apparently
the scoop here, guys.
Apparently the Wesleyan coach was at one time in line for the Williams job and didn't get it. And Williams had a few lean years fairly recently. And Wesleyan took great pride in running up the score on Williams. And Williams did not let off the gas this week.
Okay. Totally fair.
They were already up 25-0 and we're still like the play is to the end zone.
Nice.
I haven't researched the truth to that. I read it on one of my Williams Facebook boards, but wouldn't doubt that it's true. I think Williams has this handily. I mean, there's always nerves going into play at Amherst. I mean, I played rugby at Williams and we used to bet shirts. So I don't know. I maybe not that level of tension because you're going home with all of your clothes, but I still think Williams has this. I think it's their shutout. I think it's 35-0.
Okay.
And I'm really sad if I'm not going to be there to rub it in the face of my Amherst counterparts because when I first started doing this alumni thing in Pittsburgh, it was those lean times when Amherst would just crush us year after year after year. So I'm going to enjoy this for as long as it lasts.
It's like Ohio State versus Michigan in the 90s. It just oh God, can this decade...
and when it's going good, you got to ride the wave. Because it could end at any time.
Absolutely. I've been riding a wave as far as that rivalry goes for quite a while now. At some point, it's going to end. I don't know when, but at some point, that's going to come to an end. As far as this game, this year, I mean, just going back and looking at how Williams has dispatched everybody else in the league. That is a special season. And you go into the rivalry game, and it's a rivalry game, and there's always weird stuff that happens, but you're ready to close out a perfect season. You're ready to celebrate a championship. And as any good college football fan could tell you, if you can do those things and beat your rival at the same time and get to enjoy that feeling for the next 364 days, there is absolutely nothing better in college football. And the Fs win this, period.
The what?
The Fs. Did I say that correctly? No? Okay. I saved that to the end because I'm just like, that's not how I'm going to.
So the guy's name was Ephraim Williams.
Ephraim Williams. Okay.
So they're the Ephs.
The Ephs. I should have remembered that from last time you were on.
That's okay.
I should have remembered. I'm trying here. And feel free to tell anyone from Amherst how I pronounce that name too. That's
perfect.
That was fun.
You got it.
Sweet.
Absolutely perfect.
Boys and girls, you can hear the Carla and Crappy Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, TuneIn, and a variety of other podcasting hosts. You can watch us on YouTube and on the show's Facebook page. If you like us, please subscribe, rate, and review. If you don't, mind your own damn business. Be sure to come back next week when you can see exactly how wrong we were. This is the portion of the show where it's called One Final Thing. Kim, do you have a final thing that might even tangentially be related to college football?
How about totally related to college football?
Oh, sweet, even better.
So my best friend is from Omaha, lives in Omaha.
Okay.
And is a season ticket holder to Nebraska.
Okay.
So of course I had to ask her what was up with this whole coach thing.
Yeah.
And she'd been driving for 2 days to get to Maryland, and called her mom and thought her mom was joking about the whole thing. And she's like, I think it's great. Got rid of his useless assistants. Give him another year to turn the program around. It's going to be fabulous. So I love her. I love her to death. She's a little misguided on a few things. Her dad is a Yankees fan.
Oh, but that's unfortunate.
I'm going to be interested to see a year from now what I'm saying to her about Nebraska football.
It is. It is an interesting thing, and Kim, of course, is referring to the Scott Frost getting extension, and then Scott Frost, I think he fired both coordinators, or I think that was part of the arrangement.
Yes,
and it's tough when you and Michigan is in kind of a similar situation when you bring back the hero of the program from years before, who's now a coach, and you are expecting him to be the hero of the program again. If it doesn't work, man, it's impossible. It is so hard to cut those ties. I would, in Nebraska's case, it's tough. I think there has been improvement. I think, this year's team is demonstrably better than 2 years ago. I think they've taken solid steps each year, but it's just the final record, the final product, doesn't quite reflect that. Harbaugh in Michigan's the same way. I mean, he wins the games, wins the easy ones. Record there is solid. Against ranked opponents, not so much. Against his rivals, against Michigan State and Ohio State, no. He's got one win in the whole time that he's been in Ann Arbor.
I'm astounded that they both have jobs.
I guess I agree. And I don't. Ohio State hasn't been in a position where a former player has come back to be head coach. I joke about the fact that maybe Luke Fickell at Cincinnati is being could come back someday when there's an opening and keep Ohio State in the glorious position that it's in. But boy, it's a tough spot, to be honest. Good for Scott Frost, but it's kind of put up or shut up time, because I don't know there are that many more extensions without some improvement to the bottom line. And that's just wins and losses. Got to if it doesn't show up there at some point, you're going to run out of chances. The last thing that I am going to mention, and this is just a brief tribute to the late great Draft Day Suit blog. Our mutual friends Sarah and Lori founded this a million years ago when we were blogging, when that was a thing.
Before I had gray hair.
Before I had gray hair, in fact. That's not completely true. I always had a little bit kind of mixed in here and there and stuff, but that is, I wanted to bring this up while you were here, because literally you were around for the start of the Carla and Crappy show. And Carla and I have mentioned this briefly before, but I think Sarah founded the blog. Lori was there pretty much from the beginning. They asked me. I feel like you and me and Carla may have all kind of come into this at about the same time.
Yeah, I think so. They asked me, and I recommended you guys.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you.
I think
we appreciate.
At least that's how I remember it. Who knows? But it's my story. I'm sticking to it.
And then we were just doing blog posts about what the stuff that we wanted. It was a great experience. Really solid blog. A great group of writers. I mean, people all across the country. Some of whom I do a better job of keeping in touch with than others. We started doing, if you remember Google Plus and the Hangouts function, we started doing occasional the videos where we would pick NFL games. A lot of fun.
My son occasionally,
yes,
even jumping in on that. What was he, about 6?
Oh man,
goodness.
How old
5, 6 years old? He's 16.
Well, I mean, this show is 10 years old. So yeah, so yeah, 5 or 6.
He was 5 or 6.
That's nuts. He was pretty good too, as I recall.
Better than me.
and that turned from there. That sort of turned into a thing. You know, Carla and I have these college football issues, and
you don't have issues. You have whole subscription.
So we started occasionally doing just a college football picks. And I think we might have done a couple where other people were involved, but generally it was just the two of us doing these things. I know you helped and you edited a number of those. You might have been in on a couple of the original of the earliest shows. I don't recall.
I don't remember either. It was way too long ago.
But it was a really cool experience, and it was a great place for the Carla and Crappy show to start. We obviously had the blog's founders, the person who was the blog's editor at that point, which was Kim. We're completely supportive, just like, yeah, go for it. We'd love to do this, and we would post, we'd post these videos to the blog, and then and then eventually we started doing them every week, and we became more serious, and it turned into a bigger thing than it was there. But I will always be grateful that we had that space to get started. And so I tried to get Sarah and Lori involved with this, and they're both just like, I don't watch college football. I'm like, so what?
So do you know how long I've been trying to get Sarah and Lori to have a podcast?
That would be so good. Oh, that.
And they tried to say something the other day about how, if only you lived down here in DC, Kim. I'm like, we have this thing called the internet.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Thank you.
Anyway,
I had lunch with them in June.
That's cool.
We tried to go to a baseball game and it got rained out, but we met for lunch. And once again, the podcast topic did come up, but I don't know. We'll see.
It's gonna come up again in the show notes. It's coming up right here now, and I will.
Excellent.
They will be tagged. Because I am grateful that we had that space. I'm grateful that those two gave it to us. I'm grateful for the help that you gave us in getting started. And then you certainly have been like fan number one when draft day suit was no longer a thing. And we kept this going. We do appreciate.
I still post it to the Facebook page.
You do
sometimes. You do when I see it.
You do, and we always appreciate it.
But we love you guys.
Oh, thank you so much. It has been a great 10 years. The 10th year has been a little odd, but a lot of fun. And I think we're going to get Carla back here for the postseason stuff. It's just my suspicion, but we'll
be fabulous. I think she named her daughter perfectly. So
she'll be happy to hear that. Kim, thank you for that stuff and for this today.
Thanks for letting me join in.
Absolutely. It is great to talk to you as always. And thank you so much for helping us get started. Boys and girls, thank you again for listening, for watching. We hope you enjoy this week's games, and we hope you come back next week. Cheers, everybody. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the games. We'll talk to you later.